Okay, there you go. So, welcome everyone. We're in the Organizer Facilitator Q&A. You're here with the Compassion Course team. So, Antonio, you got Tom, you got Doreen here also. And so, we're kind of like the backbone of the team here. So, the way that we're going to run this meeting, in a moment, we'll start with some check-ins. So if you want to say hi, if you want to share how you're doing, we'll take a few minutes for that, maybe 5 minutes, give or take 5-10 minutes. And then we'll switch to reviewing. We're going to give a bit of an outline of how the program is going to work this year. This is the second year of the program. We've learned a lot. We've grown a lot. We've expanded the program by a lot. So we'll talk about what that looks like. And then we'll switch also over after that. We'll switch over to questions that you might have. If you've been in the program before, you want to share your experience. If you have questions of how it works, how do you facilitate? How do you run a practice group? How do people know about my practice group? How will I receive support to teach people? Do I have to teach people? All of that stuff. We'll have space and time for that to review that. I think that's the plan, right? So,
Sounds good to me. Does that work for everybody? We can see you, so shaking heads works here. Cool.
sweet.
We're nodding.
Cool.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I always confuse those two. Really.
So we can start with, if you want to say hi, share a quick check-in. Just a few seconds of just checking in if you want to do that.
Yeah, maybe just kind of how are you, like a kind of a read on how you're in the moment. And then also if there's something you'd like to get out of this conference, just in a few words, if you throw that in there too, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Actually, I also wanted to just take a minute before we get underway to let everybody know who Doreen is. Because, she's like this mysterious name that pops up here and there. And really, she's a really important part of the team. And, whenever you see something that goes to course coordinator, I mean, it goes to a number of us, but Doreen's the one who actually really looks at that stuff and makes sure that it gets to the right people and really just pays attention. What did we in school? We had like a class mother, so that's kind of what Doreen is for us, all of us, you included. And she's also quite a practitioner in her own right. She's made we've just figured out we've been working together for 8 years, and I think it's really fun to know Doreen for those whole 8 years, to see who she is today. It's kind of cool. And I'm hoping she had a similar experience, that I didn't stand still for 8 years either. But anyway.
That is true. Yes. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see some of the familiar names and faces that go with names that I've communicated with. Welcome, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful year together. Thank you.
Nice.
Cool.
Thank you. All right. I see some hands. I see some people who want to say hi. So I'll start in the order they came in. Kimberly.
I just wanted to say good morning, and I've been looking forward to this call ever since I signed up for it. And I am a certified cuddlist, and I'm studying to be an end-of-life doula. And I love how this work really helps strengthen all factors of everything that I do in my life. And it's been amazing to be a part of this work over the past year. So thank you very much. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen in the next hour. So thank you.
Thank you. Cool. All right. Go to Johan.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Jochen and I'm feeling very alive, quite excited, maybe just a tinge nervous. And yeah, I hope that the next year will be fulfilling my need for growth and for experiencing opportunity.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. Great seeing you. All right. Then we'll go to Sally.
Yes, hi all. I just wanted to share my feelings of gratitude. First to Tom, thank you so much for whole the year. The weekly messages were really great, full of details, and appreciate so much sharing your life and your stories. Were really inspiring. And I would like to thank Kathan. The group leader. I had really wonderful year with her in the group, and I think that I'm encouraged to be a organizer because what she did with us. Thank you, Kathan, so much.
Yeah.
And also I'm grateful for Doreen. Really, thank you, Doreen. Your encouragement and emails. Appreciate it so much. Thank you. And I'm happy to be in this community. Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I have to thank Katrin also, even though I don't know if I don't think she's here, but really, it has been a year now since we met, and she's just been dedicated to really making something happen as opposed to just talking about something happening. And just listening to you, Sally, was like, oh yes, something's happening. So thanks.
Oh, wonderful. Awesome. All right. So we'll keep it going here. So we'll go to, let's see, go to Jan. Oh, not yet. Try to.
Oh, Tom, while we take a
There
second.
you go.
Okay, I thought that was being done automatic. Sorry about that. Hi, I'm just so excited to have this experience of being able to meet everybody, it seems, from all over the place. I'm from Winnipeg, Canada. And I am a practitioner of nonviolent communication, as we used to call it, I guess. I try my best. I can't say that I'm good at it. But we're actually using it right now in a ministry, a prison ministry. And we're using it with parolees that are being integrated back into the community with a project. So I'm just really excited to bring this on further to other people. I just see it as such an opportunity, and thank you so very much for doing this.
Cool. By the way, Jan, just so you know, we have a book program for prisons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You'll
never guess who you call about that.
Doreen, oh, thank
right.
you. Okay, I'll get back to you on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I don't think everybody heard that, but that was a book program for prisons. It has to do with the compassion book that Tom has, obviously based on the compassion course. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's hard for, especially for prisoners, to get online like that. So, book form works pretty well.
Yeah. All right. We'll go to Anne.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi, Doreen. I appreciate your emails. Nice to see your face. Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, 3 hours north of Minneapolis, and have been practicing and providing NVC education for a number of years now. And I'm particularly impressed by one thing. Well, I'm impressed by the whole program, Tom. I've taken it online before and I have your book. But one thing you said in a video is that it takes a while to integrate these principles and to be gentle with ourselves as we ourselves learn and teach students. So I have called this year's class a slow drip approach to learning these concepts, and people are relieved. They can't take it in a whole weekend or a whole intense day of NVC training. So people are really excited about it, and I'm thrilled about the slow drip approach you offer. I'm thrilled about the global community, which I'm longing for and didn't quite know how to do myself, and you guys are doing it. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful and excited and very happy to be here. Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, and I got to say, we're entering the 11th year of the course. It's been a very interesting process to learn new technology, but at the same time, there is a lot of appreciation for all the technology that we use that helps all of this happen, especially in today's day and age and in the past year with the huge change that we've all had to make and pivot, make big pivots in our lives. And so a lot of appreciation for all the technology and for everybody who's joined us on this journey of really trying to make this a global, project, honestly.
Yeah. Another thing, if I may just add, and when you're talking about the slow drip approach, it's I think I'll quote myself. There's no workshop long enough for this. They don't make a workshop long enough to learn this. And I'm putting the compassion course on that list. In other words, and we discovered this year, it actually doesn't take a workshop as much as it takes a community. Now, yes, it takes workshops to create the community, but ultimately it's that 24/7 community that suddenly makes this alive all the time. And we've hit that point now. Yeah. And so it's not a year-long course, right? It goes forever for the compassion course.
Awesome. All right. So we'll finish off, I guess. We'll go to Eva.
You turned your camera off. There you are.
There you go.
Oh, I was trying to find the button. I took the course a while ago, and then I bought your book, Tom, and I've been running a small group, about 7 or 8 of us, and I've been doing this for the last couple of years, and everybody loves your book. They're getting so much out of your experiences and the practice exercises. And we just finished the book, and we're going through it again, but a few chapters at a time, because it's so rich, and it's really helped me a lot and helped others. And I really appreciate the community. I miss this the most, this community. I just love something that's live, especially with what's going on. So I just wanted to thank you so much and just say hi to everybody. I'm from Toronto, and it's just lovely to be part of this. Thank you.
Great, thanks. I really appreciate the closing of the loop there for me, because I work pretty hard at it, so it's wonderful to know something's happening out there.
Cool. So I think we're
kind of checked in.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Great to hear from everyone. Thank you for sharing. And those are some great names that I heard there. I heard of Kath Ann's name. There she is. Right. A veteran here. So really cool to to have some veterans here who've been doing this before, who did it the past year, who've been in the course before. So I think we can
And
switch.
Adams and Alexandra are here. Those are
Yeah.
both lead their own satellite courses.
Yeah.
In their own languages. And so we're in Romanian and Polish.
Yeah, very awesome. So we got a pretty good powerhouse going here. So I think maybe we can switch over now to give it an overview of what this year's program looks like, the upgrades that we made. We received a really good amount of feedback from participants, from organizer facilitators, on how the program went in the initial year. So one of the things that we're going to be providing more of is more training. Like, we're going to be training trainers is the idea here. So we're going to be providing you with more training, background.
Guidance,
Yeah, guidance. So what does
Could I
that
just-
look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're kind of looking at this two ways as a group of us, right? That there are two things happening. One is the organizing part, and then the other is the content part. And as an organizer or slash facilitator, you can have as much or as little to do with the content. And maybe you could just be an organizer, right? And just worry about that part. That said, we are all naturally curious and want to grow in the realm of the content. And so that's one of the things we were hearing, and guidance around how to run groups, and especially groups that are in alignment with what it is we teach. We're not like taking an old paradigm of a group and saying, yeah, this is what we're doing. And, groups are different here because they're based on needs awareness. They're informed by needs awareness. Anywho, so so the idea this year was to up the game a little more around, well, two things: specific guidance, which we did provide. We still have templates and things like that you can use, but more for those of us who really want to help people on that content level, who want to be able to say something to somebody in their group or say something to their group that's going to make a difference for them. And so that's what we're going to pay attention to more this year. I'm sorry, Anto.
Yeah. I mean,
Wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's perfect way to also segue into the format that we're going to be following we're going to have. So what's included in the program, in the Organizer Facilitator program? Let's go through it. The first thing, monthly meetings. So on the third Monday of every month at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be meeting for 2 hours, actually. And so we went from an hour and a half to 2 hours. We're going to need that time because the format of the calls is going to be similar to how we started, checking in. And then we're going to move into reviewing the previous weeks. How did those weeks go? Questions, any troubles, any celebrations, any confusions. So that's the time for us to review how the previous 4 weeks went specifically, because how are we going to review those previous 4 weeks? Well, we're also going to preview the upcoming weeks that are coming up for you. So you're an alumni. So you've taken this compassion course before, right? Let's get that clear, right? The Organizer Facilitator track, it's only for people who have completed the compassion course online with Tom Bond, right? So that's the qualification that you need to meet. So we're going to also preview the upcoming 4 weeks. What does a preview look like? We're going to review some of the content. But like Tom said, you don't need to necessarily understand or be a master of the content. We're not asking you to do that. The content is there. And so we're going to preview the 4 weeks so that we can review what kind of exercises are there in there? How do you turn those into group exercises so that you don't have to necessarily brainstorm, what am I going to do with my group? We're going to lay out formats that you can follow, like a little blueprint. Here's how you can run your session. And so we'll give you kind of like an outline, and we're going to also review the exercises that are in those upcoming 4 weeks. So when we get to the week about, let's say, observation, how do you turn the observation exercise that's in there into a group exercise? And so that's what we're going to be able to work together when we're previewing the upcoming 4 to 5 weeks to get you ready for that. And so that's kind of like the direction that we're going in with the conferences: a review of previous weeks, a preview of upcoming weeks, to also get you ready for the exercises that you're going to do with your group, and to also include group formats. How can you run your group? Things like that.
Yeah, and how do we work with, these, with problems that we never thought we were going to have, right? A lone dissenter in the group, or somebody who wants to just simply take over the group, or all sorts of things like that. How do we deal with those and then stay within the parameters of our consciousness? And so in a true power with fashion. And so we will be able to address those throughout the course.
Yeah, at times we might also, as a group, during those monthly meetings, try out an exercise. And so you can like just get ready to actually try out a group exercise so that you can also get an idea of how to do it together. Because one of the things that we're going to suggest, and this is one of the things to just kind of like, in the training world, one of the things that's really important to sometimes do is what we call a dry run. Like, try out the exercise without putting your participants through the test, right? Like, don't have them be your test subjects necessarily. You might want to try it with another organizer facilitator. You might want to try it in your, like, you might want to detail it by yourself, how you're going to run it.
Could I make a comment here about exercises?
Yeah.
To me, they are the thing that give us the experience, right, of the course. Sometimes it's not until you did that exercise that you were like, oh, now I get it. And so to me, they're so important. And so, in fact, I almost get protective, right? And the reason I realize I'm that way is because it's so important that we all have the same experience. That's what actually makes it a course, right? Is that we're all going through the same thing. And it allows us over time to really work at, our kind of the Kaizen approach of just constantly improving it. Well, we have to, we can't just be changing it all willy-nilly. We keep it with its own boundaries, and then inside that, improve it over time. So that means there's a couple things. The content. It means not mixing other things inside the course. It also means not making up exercises and then bringing them into the course. And it's not that we don't want new exercises in the course, but if we are indeed going to act as a learning community together, then we get diffused when people start doing all their own different things, and the edges of what we experience together get fuzzy. So I'm not saying let's not have new exercises. In fact, I want new exercises, and I'd love us to all do them, right? Instead of just having this one doing this exercise, this person doing that exercise. Let's work together. Bring us your exercises. I know it pains me to say this, but there must be better exercises than the ones I put in there, right? And so let's find them. Help me find them. And then we'll make them part of the course. And that way we're getting the best possible course, right? We're using everybody's input to change the course, and yet we all get to have the same experience. So that's my hope that we could do that. And we were just talking about a system by which to do that, and we're going to kind of incorporate that into our meetings as well. And I think we're going to have. I think we were talking about a form.
Yeah.
That we can use.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, if you've been in the course before, you know that we love sending reminders. So like, you're going to get a reminder before the course happens, right? So before the organizer facilitator meeting happens, you're going to receive a reminder, and in that reminder, right, and in the follow-up email also of the organizer facilitator meeting, there will be a link to a form, so that if you want to suggest a different exercise for, let's say, week 35, then we can review that and see if it works, so that everybody's doing it. Because like Tom's saying, what might happen is there's, let's say 4 groups doing the exercises from week 35, and then 2 groups doing a different exercise. And it might really affect the impact that week 35 can actually have if we're not all doing the same exercise together. So maybe we could do the same exercises together if they are new ones, if you let us know what the exercise is beforehand. So we're open to that, and we're going to give you a way to actually submit those ideas to us so that we can review that together.
Yeah.
But right, the agreement is that we're keeping to the content and the exercises in the course. It's the main agreement that, we're trying to keep here.
Yeah, and it's how to us, and it might seem like we're, being picky, but for me, I think it's one of the things that makes the course work, is its consistency.
Tam and Antonio, I just want to add that for people who are new this year, the big change is that people were making their own decisions about how to modify the activities for groups. So this year we are just putting a lot more input into that and making it easier. And it was primarily a Q&A format last year, where this time there's going to be much more training. Thank you.
Yeah. I also think it's just worth noting, just to what Tom was talking about. I think we've put a lot of, and look, we review the compassion course every year. Tom goes through every week and makes edits and changes so that the course stays fresh, it stays clean, it stays updated. So I think that's why it can be concerning if we churn our practice groups. Like if you turn a practice group into possibly a meditation group, I love meditation. I'm just, in my practice groups, I'm not going to bring that in it, because the material of the course is already pretty hard to practice. It's hard stuff. And so, doing something that can stray from the track, that can take our focus away from it, just makes it even harder to actually get this work into our bones and to really actually understand it. And so that's why what we're asking, if you want to maybe do breath work, if you want to, mix this work with yoga, or with meditation, or with Buddhism, those are all great things. And there might be great places to do that. But the request is, right, and the agreement is, this isn't the place for that. Right. And so that's kind of like, I think sometimes just some missing clarity that might help us to actually stay together as a community, as a teaching, learning community, to just stay on the same page together, actually.
Well, and it's pretty challenging to do the compassion course in a year. I can't imagine if you put something else on it that you'd be able to get through it and do the other stuff. You'd have to, unless you do, I don't know, really, really long practice groups, but otherwise I don't know how you'd be able to fit everything in. And we like being like, in a way, I don't like the word purist, but we're identifiable, right? Like what we're doing is very clearly inside a specific course. We're not trying to take over the whole world. We're just trying to have this one course and contribute to the whole world through that course. So that's why we're really careful about it, like like an artist would be with something that they created. And for me, it's also respecting what Marshall taught me, which is there's plenty to this.
So I know I see some hands. We'll switch over to, taking some feedback in a moment also. Actually, I'd love to hear from you. So I think, just, it's almost like, so then what's my role as an organizer facilitator? I think in the time that I've spent hosting groups, I consider myself as kind of like hosting a discussion, hosting a forum for people to come to continue discussing, to continue working on the course content. So it's almost like I'm a leader to lead the conversation in that direction, because I know that as a participant myself, when I started off, man, it was easy to just veer off and to start thinking that this was like this thing. It was, it's like, oh, well, this is like, Christianity, or this is like Buddhism. And so as an organizer facilitator, the leadership role is to keep on bringing us back towards what the course is trying to get us to focus on. That's a really hard thing, because it's so easy for us to want to just say, well, this is like this and this is like that. And just imagine how hard it is when we're practicing empathy, right? When we're practicing empathy, it's so hard to want to give advice, to want to counsel, to want to give therapy. And so that's kind of like, in a way, what we're trying to do as an organizer facilitator is to just keep on having that direction flow in the direction of creating this compassionate, very conscious, very, very much aware, energy that we're trying to create here in the course, right? This needs-based energy thinking, to keep on bringing the conversation in that direction, which is hard.
Yeah. And also that one of the things is that the agreement is that we're here to learn, right? It's a practice group. It's not a therapy group, which is different. And so that's another, I think, an important thing. And it's not that I don't, love therapy. It's just that that's not what this is. And so even going in, I know there's some agreement, right? We're all in that cyberspace together. What do we think we're doing there? And hopefully we all understand that we're there to learn, right? We're there to grow and practice the compassion course. So that's a pretty simple, thing to lay out. That's all you have to remember, is that that's what we're doing. But as Antonio said, it's just, you want to connect it to other things. It's uncomfortable to not know something. And so a lot of folks want to bring in something that they do know, and it makes them feel more comfortable. And our job is to make sure everybody's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I like to think of it as like also like sitting more comfortable with the uncomfortableness. Well, that's like a hard muscle to grow, man. And by the way, if you're wondering like, well, what the hell were you doing in the organizer facilitator meetings last year, like in the 2020 year, we were doing a bit of a more open format Q&A session for every meeting, which was great. But we also got the feedback that organizer facilitators could use a little bit more guidance in what their meetings could be like. They could use a little bit more guidance on the exercises. So we're kind of like, again, detailing some more clear blueprints on how you can lead your group exercises, how you can lead your group sessions, like what does a group format look like for, you know, if you want to do this on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And that's a great point to talk about, by the way.
Yeah.
Let me just review that real quick here. We're not asking you to meet on a weekly basis. Sometimes that could mean burnout, possibly, right? Like you could easily be like, oh my God, I'm done. And you wanted to do a weekly meeting for a year. And at week 20, you're burnt out, possibly. So maybe, as something that I've learned for myself, pacing yourself is something very important. Maybe as an organizer facilitator, you meet every other week, right? And you figure out the duration of that meeting. A suggestion that I think I find that usually is formidable and that works, between 2.5 to maybe 3 hours if you're going to meet on a bi-weekly session. If you're meeting on a weekly session, 2 hours is probably the maximum. Even if you do an hour and a half, it's hard to fit in, you know, enough time in there, but that's also a healthy pace, I think. If you're doing a monthly thing, you know, I would just check in with how, you know, how that might help that continuum to stay together. Because if you're meeting on a monthly basis, it's hard to get the feedback from people on how their growth is going and how their, you know, their integration is happening. But that might still work just to maybe do like, you know, a 3 to 4 hour meeting if you're going to meet on a monthly basis. So just one of the things that I wanted to throw out there that we've learned after doing this for a long time, pacing yourself is something very important. Maybe you want to figure out the pace of how you're going to actually structure your groups actually.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons we ask that you be alumni, so you know what you're signing up for.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. So the last thing, and then I'll turn it over for feedback. How are people going to find out about you? How do participants find your groups? There's a few things to say about this. This is obviously another thing that's included when you sign up for the Organizer Facilitator track. We've created.
Can you do a share screen?
Actually, yeah, I was going to bring it up in a moment. So yeah, yep, yeah, you read my mind. So we have a spreadsheet that's only for Compassion Course participants, right? This isn't to be shared with people who are just outside of the course. So Compassion Course participants, they're going to receive this list today. And then today's the first day that they actually receive it. And it's it's a live list, which means that they're going to have continued access to that list and it will continue generating groups as they come in. So if you don't have a group ready until, let's say, July or September or October or November, that list of groups will continue generating for participants. So whenever you're ready, there's going to be participants who might still be looking for a group. And I know last year there were people who were not ready to have a group maybe until the middle of the course, possibly. Right. And so that's what I mean also about just knowing your kind of like weaknesses and strengths. Like maybe you want to get refamiliarized with the course content before you jump in. Maybe you're ready to jump in and you want to list your group. So I'll show you what that list looks like. What we're going to ask for is very clear and specific information. When you list your group, we're asking you to please only list the information about the group. If you have other things that you are like certified in, if you're a mindfulness, trained mindfulness meditation trained teacher, if you are a yoga teacher, if you're a breathwork teacher or whatever else, like I love all those things myself. So we have a space for that. It's going to be on the Mighty Network profile. So, we have this forum where everybody goes to talk. There's a space for you to actually have a profile. So if you want to include those things, you can include them on your Mighty Network profile. But what we're asking you to include when you submit the information of your group is simply the information of your group, because it makes it a lot easier for people to also read through all that information. There's already about almost 30 groups listed. So the less words, the easier it's going to be for participants to find your group. So that's why we're asking just for you to post the information about your group on that form.
Right. So the objective stuff, right? All the
Yes.
logistics are going to go on the form. But when you want people to be able to see who you are, right, and get the subjective part of you, that view, that's done in your profile.
So
That's where you get to show people who you are.
yeah, exactly. Look, if you want to charge for your group, that's great. Honestly, that's really wonderful. Now, if you want to get, a good amount of people into your group, the forum is a great place to post about it. People are going to, of course, be able to find it through that list that we're going to share with everybody. And I'll show you that list in a moment. So you can always just talk to people about your group in the forum and let them know, hey, I started a group. If you want to join, here's the information. As well, the course starts on June 23rd, and then we have 2 extension periods after that. So we have a list of a number of social media places to go to if you want to tell people, I'm hosting a group based on Marshall Rosenberg's work, and it's led by Tom Bond. And if you want to join my group, here's the information of how you register for the course, because anybody who's going to be in your group has to be registered in the course. So if you want to go ahead and tell other groups, there's a bunch of NVC groups that I would suggest that maybe you want to let people know that you're hosting a group. So we're going to share that information with you. It's already on our website, but we're also going to email that to you as well. So in case you want to let people know, I'm hosting the group, it's $5 a week or whatever it is you're going to charge. And here's the information of how you can sign up for my group. You have to first register for the compassion course, and then you can join my group. So we have a bunch of resources on how you can actually maximize the potential amount of participants in your group also. So that if you want to have 20 people or 25 people, a lot of groups were able to have that last year. And they did kind of like do a little bit of a shouting out saying, hey, I have a group. Here's the information of it.
Yeah. Another nice thing about this is that because the course is matriculated over a year, you can join a group anywhere along the line, or you could even switch groups anywhere along the line, and we're all in the same place all the time.
Yeah.
So people always say, well, why don't you offer it all the time, constantly? Why do we only do it once a year? It's because of that. It's like we're all in the same place at the same time.
So I'm thinking maybe I'll show you 2 things. I'm going to show you the form. This is a form that that you have access to. If you register at any moment now for the Organizer Facilitator track, you receive access to this form automatically. And this is the form that you fill out with your group information that then is shared with everybody in the course. So as you can tell, we detailed it pretty clearly here of what it is that we're asking you for. And so these are the things that participants are going to see when they look for a group to join. And so, like I said, here's where you can put the group information, the cost of the group, the location, possibly. Some people might be ready to start meeting in person. If you're in the northern hemisphere, right? You can start possibly meeting in the park or something like that during this time of year. Whatever it is, this is where you can include specific group information. So like I said, if you have other things that you want to list that you are trained in, if you are, like I said, a yoga teacher, a breathwork teacher, then we're going to have that space for you on your Mighty Network profile on the form. So here's all the information that we're asking for that will probably help people find your group and find the group that works for them. Now, if you're not ready and you don't know what schedule is going to work best for you, like when you're going to host a group, how often you're going to host it, and things like that, then you don't have to fill this out yet. It's when you're ready to fill it out. Now, if you filled it out and there are changes that you want to make, or you submitted a form and you were like, oh, I wanted to actually, I did, let me resubmit it. Let me resend it again. You can resubmit the form and let us know. And we're probably going to imagine that the previous entry is the one that you want deleted. So you can let us know in advance. Hey, I submitted a form. However, there's information that I left out that I want to include. So could you delete the previous entry that I submitted? So this is, again, what it looks like for you to fill out the form with all the group information here. And then I can also show us what it looks like to have a copy of what the listing looks like itself. So I'll give us a bit of a preview of what, if you just wanted to look at the list of groups that are being offered, this is going to be, here it is.
Watch your window. You gotta switch your window.
Oh, okay. There we go. So this is kind of like, this is what the list of groups looks like. So when a participant has access to this list, this is what they're looking like. So
and as the forms are filled out, that data is automatically
exactly
put in this
exactly
live, literally.
Yep. So this is a live, right, form. So as you fill out that form that I showed you, your information is automatically sent to this sheet here that participants can then read, and they can find the group that works for them, basically. So
yeah, the thing that we really wanted to emphasize about this particular system is that this is about the group. And if you start putting stuff in about you, then the whole thing gets unwieldy because it gets too long. So we really needed to, that's why we came up with this idea. If you want to speak at length about yourself, do it in your profile. And then we're going to have actually, is there a profile link?
yeah, that's going to be sent in the email as well.
Right.
Yes.
So
And
that's what people they can click on the profile link and find out about you that way. Otherwise, this thing's going to get too big.
I'll come back to you. There we are.
All right. Should we start talking? Listening?
Yeah. So
Adam?
this all makes sense so far. Like, if you have questions, just start putting it in here. Start letting us know. I'm gonna go in order of the hands that they came in. So I'm gonna start with Adam, and then I'll go to Eva. Start with Adam.
Yeah, hello. I'm impressed by the organization, guys. All these forums and stuff. So I'm keeping fingers crossed for you. My remark, my hand up was only for this, this hesitation to change the practice, the practices of the material in the course, because I'm running a third group. It's the second year. And it's funny because each time I think, I'll switch, I'll twitch a bit, etc. And each time I try it, what I need more is understanding how it goes and what is it really about the exercise. And I have the privilege to talk to Tom sometimes. So I kind of like, what do you mean by that? And what are the steps really? And so I think what I'm saying is, I would say really test it on yourself before you change anything or you try to change anything, because they look very simple, but my experience is that they are kind of complicated sometimes to go through, because we're talking about experiences, internal experiences. So it's not so easy. So I don't understand this hesitation, and then people say, I have this one and it's great and you love it, whatever. But I would say, go through all of them first and then let's talk about it.
Yeah.
That's just my remark. Thank you.
Yeah, we really do think very hard about what we put in there. We really pay a lot of attention to that. And they're there for a reason. And so the other thing is, if you have one, run it by us. Like, fill out the form and maybe you'll make the whole course better. And that's what I would love to see. I'd love some partnership in that. That'd be really fun for me. So thanks, Adam.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. One of the most, some of the most embarrassing moments as a trainer is when you come up with a new concept and then you bring it. And I think one time I was like, compassion course is like a box. And I was like, what was I even trying to say? It's like, and then they're like, what were you trying to say?
Box of chocolates? Is that what you were trying to say?
Right. It's like, where was I going with that? I think we're tempted as trainers to want to offer a fresh, angle, a different perspective on this work. And I got to say, that is something very hard, because as a trainer, you are the one who's going to be in control of, quote, your leash, of like, how far out am I going to go with a new concept, with a new idea. I think the idea of what we're trying to do here is that the course does a lot of that for you, so that we don't have to necessarily, as they say, reinvent the wheel. It's like, we kind of got it. And the more that we can keep bringing ourselves and the participants to that focus, that's the hard part, because it's like it's like Tom was saying, this is so hard to stay focused on. That itself is a challenge. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I often hear facilitators liken their jobs to herding cats. Right? It seems that we attract very creative people who want to do their own thing. And so we all have to become cat tamers.
Yeah, exactly. Hard work. All right, cool. So thanks for that, Adam. All right, so we'll go to Eva and then Anne. Oh, hold on. Where are you, Eva? There you go. Cool.
Right. Okay. So I've a couple of questions. One is, can we connect with each other during this month so we can practice with each other and talk to each other? Is that a possibility?
Yeah. All right. So perfect. So here goes. So last year, so here's a new little technology that we're adding in this year. The organizer facilitator crew last year we had about 180.
Woo.
Exactly. So I want to support that communication for people to stay connected as a community. So we're going to offer a Telegram group for organizer facilitators, so that you can stay connected over Telegram. Now you can download Telegram on your phone, and you can also add it to your computer. It's a different version of WhatsApp. I think there's a little bit of, there was last year there was a bit of concern and conflict with how WhatsApp was using people's information. We're trying to be careful with that and trying to use the best resources possible. So organizer facilitators are going to be able to connect over a Telegram group, actually, so that you can practice with each other. And as a matter of fact,
it's more global friendly also, but
yeah, it is actually. It's kind of cool. And as a matter of fact, last year there was an organizer facilitator practice group that was just for organizer facilitators. And so the people in the organizer facilitator track are kind of like natural born leaders, is the way that I look at it. And so I imagine that that will form again, and that's a great place where people were practicing some of the exercises together, actually. And so it's kind of funny, because we're on the monthly meetings that we're going to host, we'll detail how to practice the exercises for your group. And then what's really cool, you can do like a dry run with the organizer facilitator group yourselves, so that you can get ready for when you do that with your participants, for example.
Right. So I told you I had a couple of questions. The other is about the exercises. When do we get the exercises? Like, have you done the exercises for the entire year, first 26 weeks? Like what? And the other thing is, I find a lot of exercises online that are already there. So when we add exercises, are they our own, or those we find online that other people are using? So two questions there.
Yeah, the exercises that are in the course are the ones. So, like for example, when you go to, let's say, like week 1, it's kind of like, how do you turn that into a group exercise? It's kind of like, so what we're going to be doing is, so in week 1 we can, so I'll give you a little bit of a preview here. When we look at week 1, this is a great place for us to start talking about, what needs are. Keep on referring back to the week 1 content. And then when we switch over to exercise, do the T exercise together, right? We're familiar with that one, where you kind of like write the statement that someone says that you didn't like, and then you share your feelings and needs, and then you connect to the other person's feelings and needs. So that's actually a great exercise to review as a group, but to do it also together as a group.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of awkward silence because you're all kind of like just scribbling away, but that's actually a cool place to just, once you're done with that as a group, you come back, you review how the exercise went, any findings, any discoveries that you found along the way, basically.
Yeah. And a lot of, I mean, we don't want to change the exercises if we can help it. So if we can keep it the same exercise but make it for a group, that's the ideal.
Yep.
And one of the ways we've done this, in workshops is that one person scribes for the other person.
Yeah.
They write down for them, they help them, and they might even make an empathy guess or two, but to make that so it's the same exact exercise, right? Except you get that added partnership of doing it with
Oh,
somebody else.
okay. So it's the exercises at the back of each chapter, the
Yeah,
practices.
they're
Right?
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering because, as I said, I've been running a group for the last couple of years, and so when we're doing observations, I find things online, and then we have to check to see, is it an observation, is it judgment? So I find things. So I've added exercises. So you don't want that kind of thing then.
I mean, if it helps, I would like everybody to have that exercise, not just your group.
Okay, but
So,
they're not my
but
found. The ones I've found, and then I've integrated it. Is that
yeah,
okay?
I mean, I don't want to plagiarize people's stuff. So whatever would need to be done around that.
Okay.
But the most of the exercises, we haven't really found that there were missing exercises from the course.
Okay.
Right. It was so at this point, and in fact, a lot of them are designed specifically to give you sequential experiences, right? So you'll have one exercise, one experience one week and build on that the next week. So if you're doing different exercises, you might miss that boat.
Okay.
So that's why, again, we're kind of nutty about this thing of, following the course.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Eva.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. We'll go to Anne, and then Sally, and then Magdalene. So, Anne, go for it.
Okay. There you are.
Thank you. I have 3 questions that I'm guessing can be answered pretty quickly. Given my brain style in a year's course, now I know this about myself, and I'm wondering if other people in my group might experience this too, but how to, a visual image on which to hang this stuff. And I'm thinking of Inbal Kashtan's The NVC Tree of Life. I'm guessing you guys have all seen that. And I seem to have a hang up. I love that image of the tree with self-empathy at the bottom, where I can just picture the double T happening.
Mm-hmm.
And, empathy on the right limb and self-expression on the other limb. And I am tempted to submit that as a consideration for future course stuff. But is that the kind of thing you would not like us to add?
Well, we have it. Well, in a way, as much as I like that, does it show me the relationship of needs to judgment or to feelings? Doesn't. It just says self-empathy and empathy. So what I like about our compassion map, which is the visual that we use, which, by the way, Inbal used to use, is a circle in the center, which shows needs, and then 2 circles around needs. One which is feelings, and then the other one, which is judgment. And so we show the relationship of all those things. And that's, for me, what most accurately describes the work that we do in a big picture.
Well, thank you. I'd forgotten the compassion map was in there. I have to go
Yeah.
back and look at my book. So if that's in there, I just think people need that. Anyway, that's great. I just needed that reminder, and I haven't looked at the graphics recently,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I need to know, is that that is represented somewhere for brain types
Yeah.
that need a visual place to hang all the information. It just helps keep you organized,
Oh,
brain
totally.
wise.
Yeah.
And then my
We
other
have a
question-
lot of our projects. We actually, Gabi Vana is like, she's renowned inside the organization for coming up with trees. In fact, she's very big on, as a visual arborist. And we end up, I mean, because look, trees are life, right? And we're life. And so we have a lot in common. And so it's easy to put them together. That said, again, if you're looking for a visual that really captures the whole of this, something that you can go back to over and over again and say, where the heck am I?
Yeah.
It's the compassion map.
Great.
There it is.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Put it in the chat.
Yeah. What week is that in?
It's
May I
in
ask?
one of
It's
our,
part of the exercise, actually.
yeah, it's part of the exercise. Yeah.
It's one of the hints in the exercise.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And I know Gabi Vana. I met her at a training, and is she an organizer facilitator, may I ask?
She is the author of, one of the authors of the German, what we call Mitgefühlausfähig, which is the German version of the
fabulous.
course.
Okay.
We've been working together for about 12 years now.
Oh, she's amazing. Okay. Second question for me is, on the form you showed of all the practice organizer facilitator groups, my understanding, and I'd like just more clarity on this, is that people will go to, once they register for the group, they will get an email from Compassion Course, from you all, saying, okay, you're registered, now go and pick a group, right?
Correct.
They go to the site, and then I have 9 local people here that they say they want to be in my group. They have freedom to switch groups too, but they would go and find my name and then just click on it, and it would be outlined how they do that, right?
Well, thank you. This is perfect. We leave that to the administration of your group is handled by you. We handle the communication to connect you with people, but how you do it is completely up to you. I think Corey was doing something where it was like a monthly subscription, and you could just drop in whenever you felt like it for some amazingly reasonable number. Some people want to say it's this many weeks, it's this many dollars. Send me you could, I'll send you a PayPal invoice. Everybody here, by the way, has everything you need online to send invoices, right? We can just use PayPal. And it's got everything in, it's free. And so we, luckily now, right at this stage in history, we all have enough access to technology where we can do that, and it's not a big deal. We don't have to handle registrations for people. In the old days, you kind of did, right? Because it was so complicated, but it's pretty easy now. So you would just do make your own arrangements.
Right. I don't know how to get them into my group on that form. Do I go in and put them in once
They
they've
contact
registered?
you.
They contact you.
Who's they?
The participants.
The
once
participants.
okay, I've already given my group participants wrong instructions, so I'm going to have to go fix that. I told them you would send them a link to sign up for my group once they registered for the course.
They're
So
going to get right. What they're going to get is today, if they're already registered, they're going to get that listing of all the groups.
Right. And then what do they do with that?
That's
when
my
next.
So then they scroll through, let's say, they find your name and they can email you to let you know, I'd like to join your group.
Okay.
Yep.
And do I then list their name on the form? So you want to see all the people in each group, or?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just
Okay.
so they can find you,
Yeah.
right? So people can find you. They can go look and find you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I may or may not have more people emailing me to join my group, or whatever. It just is whatever it is. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they will, anybody who sees any of our groups and wants to join it, your instructions on that to them are to email the
Exactly.
group leader that they prefer.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And
And-
then, do you need anything else from us as organizer facilitators?
Social
What-
security number, checking account number.
Right.
So you're not needing names or numbers from us about who's in our group. You're
Not
just
even a
listing group
background
leaders.
check on you, Ann.
Great. Oh, what a relief. What a relief. Yeah. Okay. And then my final question, thank you, is I'm making an assumption that on Zoom we can do breakout groups in our practice group.
Yeah. So,
So
on
that's
the,
just,
yeah, exactly. And actually, for the first meeting when we get together, June 7th, I believe it is, for
Yeah.
organizer facilitators, I'm going to do a little training session for us organizer facilitators.
We got the Antonio special.
Yeah.
Have us all experts at Zoom.
great.
There's some new
Okay.
things and some old tricks to show on here.
Super. Thank you. I'm complete with my questions. Thank you very much.
Nice. Thank you. All right. All right. So we'll keep
Antonio,
going.
can I just
Oh, yeah,
clarify
go for it.
something?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
someone's group is full, would they then write to us at course coordinator and we would change that and say that
Yeah.
it is no longer open, right?
Yeah. So if you so if you want to just consider your group possibly being full for yourself, whatever number that is for you, you let us know and we can just change the status of your group as that there aren't any spots open. You know, the information of your group stays up, but it just says that there aren't any spots open at this time.
We thought it'd be nice. We don't want you just disappearing from the ether when your group gets filled. We want people to know you're there, right? So that's why we'll leave them up, but we'll just change the status so that people can, look.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, cool. So we'll continue with Sally, Magdalene, and then Catherine. So Sally.
Okay, I have two questions. The first question, you said that every year you renew the weekly messages, right?
Yep.
And exercises, so as to make it like fresh every year. So this means that I'll also be in the list of this year 2021 of the weekly messages. Okay.
Yeah. So when you sign up for the organizer facilitator track, you also automatically receive, you are a participant as well.
Okay. And this means that I also join the monthly meeting of the second Monday, maybe?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And the second question, this year or in 2020, I couldn't follow up really Facebook or WhatsApp or mighty networks, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't, the only thing that I can follow up is the email. So I don't know, as organizer, I have to follow all the community everywhere, or no, as I can be only emails.
Have you tried Telegram?
Yes, I know the Telegram, but I'm because Antonio said that we can communicate with people on the Mighty Network. So it's not necessary, right?
Right.
It's not.
It's not required.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it's a great place to continue, connecting with people. Not required. There's always great conversations going on there, actually. Like
I
people
know
are,
they are great, but at the same time, there are so many. So
there's a lot. There's a lot.
yes.
Yeah.
So I couldn't follow up really.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. So it's not a requirement. A beautiful place to always go. As a matter of fact, I have not seen this many conversations happening this, to this end of the course, right? We haven't seen conversations on Facebook continue all the way through this part of the course, which is really cool. So anyways, it's just a great place to go. And sometimes people have questions about the content. Look, I mean, it's a great place to go and continue, building your training skills. Like if you can answer people's questions by writing, and provide your feedback of how, what your understanding of that concept is, that is a great way to actually continue building your muscles as a facilitator.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. All right. We'll go to Magdalene, then Catherine, then Jan.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good to see you again.
Hi, Magdalene.
I have a technical question regarding Mighty Networks. Are you going to, by the way, are you going to use it this year? Did you say you're going to use this year for the facilitation group? I don't know about your experience, but I had the Mighty Networks for the facilitation group, and I also had followed the Mighty Networks for your course, the facilitation course. And then finally, I was asked to join the group, as though that threw me out. I could have written them, but I hadn't. I didn't email them. But I don't know if you have that experience.
If you are signing into multiple, so like the Mighty Networks, the way that it was organized, there was like two different ones. There was one for regular participants, one for, so what we're going to do this year is just have one just for participants. And that's the only one we're going to have. For organizer facilitators, there's going to be a Telegram. So on your phone,
Okay. All right.
you can join Telegram so that you can talk with the organizer facilitators, because we found that it's actually probably important for everybody here to be in contact with each other to support one another. And Telegram might be an easier way for everybody to stay in contact with each other.
All right. And I have one more question. I understand this course is in other languages like German and Arabic. But if I have a facilitation group in Greek, for example, that means that needs to be translated, but also they have to be English speaking to follow your course.
It depends. I mean, no, it can be done without the, well, what's interesting is a lot of the folks who are in the other language courses understand English. They just don't speak it. And so it's turning out to be helpful for folks to be able to listen to that, but it's not required. Like the German, for example, Thomas, Gabi used to run those calls, and now Thomas runs the calls in German. So people are stepping up as they can to handle the monthly calls. Now, some of the courses I believe the Spanish course may translate the calls and just do it that way. But others are handling the calls themselves.
How would you translate it? For example, would I do simultaneous translation while you talk?
It plays my voice at 20% volume and the translator's voice at 100.
Okay, that's very creative.
And that's a preview of what's to come. Possibly next year, we might have one meeting for all languages. Mm-hmm. So like if you can imagine that, right, next year, our regular Compassion Course conferences might include possibly 600 to 700 people. And we're going to have live translators for those other languages.
That's the United Nations then.
We finally got the tech.
Okay, but does it have to be translated into the language? Your book has to be translated into the language?
That's all over the place in all different languages. People have, I mean, it's been completed in Finnish. It's been
Wow.
completed in German and in English.
Yeah.
And they're working on it in Italian. They're working on it in other languages as well.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
it's just it's like, yeah, it's just all different
Wonderful.
places and different
But
stages.
yeah, I really like to see that evolve internationally. Thank you.
It seems to be.
Yeah, it's around the corner at this point. So that's a preview of what's probably to come for next year. We might even test it this year.
And we may even actually meet each other, like be able to touch in the future. And so one of the things that we've always had in mind, just waiting for the right time, is something we call compassion convergence, where we'll get us all together. So that's coming.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we'll go to Catherine and then Jan.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. Thank you. As has been said before, I love that you're deepening your organization for us facilitators this year. Looking forward to that. And you had mentioned in the beginning something about a template, and I'm wondering, or that you have templates, and I'm wondering what you were referring to. I have several questions, but that was one.
All right, I'll pull that up if you want to go to the other question in the meantime.
Okay. Okay. And then the other thing is, I have not yet submitted my registration, but I'd love to put my group. I know what I want to do with my, what times and so forth I want my groups. Is there a way to get that in today so it can be put out in the first? What's the timing?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna send that out.
Put a link in there, right, Anta?
Yeah, I mean, if you got that, you have the link, right, Catherine? So we're not going to send that email out till about probably like 6 p.m. Eastern time, I'm thinking.
Okay. Now, I don't think I do have the link to the form yet, because like I said, I haven't finished my registration process.
Oh, okay. When you register, if you register, you'll get that link automatically, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And then go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I'm just going to show a bit of a format. This is just an idea. We're going to keep on playing with this when we actually get to, right? So here is kind of like an idea of the group format. Now, this is kind of like brief. We're going to expand on this when we actually get to, right, the meetings.
Yeah, but this is a safety net. It's always there.
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that'll come in the registration.
This is going to come when we start meetings. So the meetings so when you get the reminder for the meetings, you'll get this in there, and then you'll also have this on the resources page as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm curious, what are the numbers this year for the course? What are you anticipating in terms of people registering?
Yeah, I'd say we're spot on to be on track with what we did last year. So anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yay. And how about for facilitators?
I think we're on track to probably be around the same number. So I'm thinking anywhere between 100 to 150.
Yeah. I think the big thing that I noticed in the last couple of years is the level of engagement that's been in the course. It's not just the numbers. We get our numbers are almost always great, but the question is, what are the numbers at the end of the year?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. It's how many people are finishing the book, so to speak, and this year, I think we literally have tripled the number of folks on the calls, the number of entries in the forum. The open rates on the emails, all that has just taken a quantum leap this year. And it's because of you guys.
Practice groups. Yeah. Well, I was wondering what that, for some reason, I hadn't heard the data on that yet. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such good news. Good.
Yeah. It is good news. It's cool.
Yeah.
And that was the whole idea, to make it democratic, right? It was like, it was working, but it still was set up almost like an oligarchy, you know, like there was only one way you could participate, and that was just to be a participant or me. And so we made this so that it's, like I said, more democratic. So now the community can participate in it and benefit from it. I hope everybody here, you know, can do a practice group and makes money from it, gets energy back. I love energy exchange. I love sustainability. You know, because that's what makes sustainability. It's energy exchange. And for me, that's my view of money. It's just a form of energy exchange. And when the energy exchange works, right, when it comes back and forth, it's sustainable. When it's not, it's not.
Well, I'm really glad you mentioned that, Tom, because I don't know what you're going to put out in terms of encouraging people to find a practice group or whatever. But I think if you put in your feelings about that as an exchange, it will really support all of us facilitators too, to have people like want to step in there, and whether that's going to be a pay from the heart thing. I think everyone's setting up their own rates, but yeah, what you just said, if are you going to be sharing that with the community? Do you plan?
I don't know. Maybe I have. I you know, I don't exactly know, but
okay, well,
it must be somewhere, right? Don't we say that someplace? I don't know.
Yeah, well, or even occasional mentions as you gather the community. It would be just really supportive of the facilitators.
Yeah, that landed.
Good. Thank you so much. Really wonderful to be part of this community.
Thanks.
Sweet.
Tom or Anto, do you want to just mention a little bit about the resource pages? Because I know there are some people who signed up as organizer facilitators who were not in the course last year.
Yeah, so there's going to be a page. You're going to be able to access a resource page.
Well, there is one actually, right?
Well, there's one for last year, and you're going to have one again for this year. And as you can imagine, the resource page is going to be a place where you can go to find the Telegram group, to find that format that I just showed you an example of, you know, to find different things that you might want to look for as an organizer facilitator. So that'll be available again this year.
And it's also available for the course this year as well. You could find all your previous lessons, all the previous recordings are listed there. It's a wonderful place to be able to go and find everything that you would be looking for, that I would have had to send emails about.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yeah. I'll save this. Okay. Go to Jan.
Hi, this will be my first year, and I'm, I guess, puzzled in terms of joining a practice group. You have to be enrolled in the compassion course, but then I also heard that if you can start your practice group at any time during the year. So
with people from the course.
With people from the course. Okay. So if I'm wanting to have a specific group of people, and then that specific people have a practice group, such as the guys that we're working with, they will all have to enroll in your course for June 22nd or 23rd. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
I just needed to kind of wrap my head around that. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear. We're not out to just, you know, capture people's money. We really, if you're not in the course, there's a bunch of stuff that you're not going to have access to.
Right.
And we really want to make sure everybody has the best shot at getting through this successfully, right?
So if I can't get my ducks in a row, because there's going to be, I mean, there's other players in this. Is it possible that I can just stay as practice as a facilitator without having a group?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're genuinely holding an intention to have that contribute to your position there, I don't see why not. Now, if you're doing it for other reasons, I don't know. But, you know.
Okay. Perfect. That's
Yeah,
great.
so-
Thank you.
I mean, does that make sense to you guys, Anto? Dorian?
It's just that I don't know, like in terms of the fellows that are in prison right now, if it was being done through the prison, there's a lot of stuff that we'd have to jump through because they don't have access to the internet and so on and so forth. So that's
Well, name a lot of prisoners are not allowed to have books either.
right.
So
Right.
what we do is we stock the library at the prison
Okay.
with the books, and then they can take them out of the library.
Okay.
Is generally how.
Because I mean, the other possibility too is I may just get a bunch of my friends together and have that practice group this year and then run it through for the prison next year.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Okay. We'll go to Kathan and then Anne. We'll start wrapping it up.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'll be quick because I just want to celebrate. I just want to say how inspiring and encouraging it is to see all these new faces and some familiar faces, and to know that this many more people are inviting compassion into their lives and wishing to share it. And I just want to say that, you know, I've done the compassion course before without being in a practice group, and it just changes everything. And facilitating one does that again. So it just, it's exponential in terms of the growth and learning, and is doubly transformative. So I just want to encourage all of you and just say, wow, you're in for a great journey. And I'm glad to see you here. Thanks, team.
Awesome.
Only just begun.
Okay. And go for it.
This is my second round of questions, but I have two more. One has to do with PayPal and willing giving. That's how I've described it. I want willing giving. It feels so freeing. I heard you mention PayPal invoices, and I'm new to that. I use PayPal, but I've never sent an invoice on anything but QuickBooks. So I don't know how to do that. And I'd love to hear any comments from any of you three about what experiences you have, feedback from participants who get an invoice. Does it feel like a demand to people, or is it a pre-arrangement that every organizer facilitator needs to make with their group people? Any feedback on that would be greatly appreciated.
I mean, for me, it's support. We're just supporting. I mean, you've made an agreement. We're just supporting you and helping you make you fulfill your agreement.
But that's if you prearranged and that there would be a cost. So if you said on your form that it's $5 per session, then you can set that up.
But you don't send the PayPal invoice. I send it, right?
Correct.
Right. No, I have said there I do have a willing giving, but I have a sliding scale thing. Yeah. And I'm wondering if people will really remember to go and do that. And again, how would you don't have a crystal ball. We don't know if people will remember, but if they value the class, my suggestion is that they initiate this willing giving one time a month.
Yeah.
And I have a PayPal link on my website. So
I was going to say, put the PayPal link in your chat.
Yeah. So every time you meet, you can put it in your chat, the link.
Oh, I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Oh, okay. In the chat. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we'll experiment right now. Let's put a link in here, and everybody send as much money as you possibly can to us right now. Let's see how it works. What do you think?
Oh gosh. Well, we'll put a little happy face, not a demand face next to that link in the chat. Anyway. And then my final question has to do with deep pain in a group member. I know about empathy. I know about we're holding a container of love and support. Maybe we'll get into that in our specific organizer facilitator sessions of training. So I don't want to take up more time on that now, but I would love just a couple sentences on how it's going to happen, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And as a facilitator, you don't want to minimize that. And I know you'll go into more detail about it later, but I'd love to hear just a few words now, if possible.
I had almost too many thoughts about that. One of the things, I guess, is that as a facilitator, I don't want to think that my job is going to begin and end in 90 minutes. That just be prepared, right? At least I do this for myself. Be prepared to have to spend some extra time with people outside the group.
Okay.
Just give yourself a number. You know, I'm going to spend 2 hours outside the group during the course of the year, or 4 hours, whatever it is, and allow that instead of going, oh man, I got to make this call now. I've got a crisis here. You know, no, it's like, this is how it goes. Something's going on. Look, can I talk to you outside the group?
Okay.
See, what you're doing is you're rescuing the entire group.
Yeah.
By using that time, by willingly using that time. So let's just maybe put that all in our little psychic bank account, right? That we're going to have a few hours that we're going to just donate to the group to help things run smoothly.
Right. Because most of us are not therapists at all. And you've already addressed that. So if we do those outside conversations and someone we think really could use deeper support, we can give it that kind of advice if we think it's appropriate.
Right.
But I hear what you're saying. Thank you.
And another thing about the group is that we used to say, please don't come to the group needing empathy if you could help it. And you'd be like, well, how do I do that? Well, you have an empathy practice. That's how. And you actually put that time in. One of the things that can happen is your practice group becomes the only resource they have for empathy. And then all of a sudden, I don't care about the practice group. When do we start the empathy? Right? Because it's so seductive. And so that's one of the things I think is important for us to realize, that, you know, and keep those separate. And so the problem is, you need to figure out how to get empathy outside the group. Right?
Is that what you said at the beginning? You said, are you saying we tell practice group participants don't come to the group needing empathy? Say that.
I mean, if you could, I know that's inhuman, but you know, besides the fact that it's inhuman, it makes for a really smooth practice group, let me tell you. No, but what I'm saying is that we want to be sure that this imbalance of using the practice group as an empathy resource does not occur, right?
Okay.
You make sure
maybe they'll have a empathy buddy outside of group. I mean, that's part of the course too, eventually.
Week 10.
Week 10? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So stuff like that, you know, yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
What came up for me with your question, Anne, was that as a facilitator, what can happen is someone is very clearly needing a lot of empathy at the time when you are trying to get some progress in the group. And so what I've used is to say something along the lines of, I'm really conflicted because I know that you need empathy and I want to care for the group and our purpose here today. So I'm wondering if, you know, you would be willing for us to move along, and maybe you can speak with your empathy buddy, or we can schedule something. You know, would that work for you?
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. In other words, we're never saying no, we're just saying not now.
Right. And if they're sobbing and say, I've got to go, that's their choice. And they exit the group. That happens.
Adult education.
That's right. That's right. Choice. Choice. And I can get in touch with that person later.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. All right. We'll finish it off with Eva.
All right, more questions. So I have not been in a group. I've been leading groups, but not been in a group. So I'm just wondering whether it's better for me this year just to be in a group and not lead, or to be in a group and lead, or just not worry about it and lead, or maybe we can get together as a group and do it. So just wondering about that.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Anto.
Well, if you're not, maybe if you're on the fence, but you want to try the opportunity, you could sign up and you could wait to see if by week 15 or 20 you're ready for that. And maybe before that, you do join a group to see if, you know, that's kind of like the road that you want to go down. There is also the opportunity to possibly do a group together with someone else as well. That's not out of the question either.
Yeah, I just wonder if some other people in this group would like to do that, because I'd love to start leading. I want to start leading right away, because I have been leading the other, but I haven't been in a group myself.
I think what I'll do, you know, probably later this week, if you're an organizer facilitator, or you're going to sign up to be one, we'll start the Telegram so that everybody can start communicating already, so that you can have that conversation with other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just see a show of hands if anyone's interested in that, just before I go? Is anyone interested in being part of a group?
Okay, you got Alexandru. Okay, Laura.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Great. Yeah. Yeah. That's always a great thing. By the way, when we started New York City practice groups in 2014, 15, I don't know if anybody ever did one by themselves, by the way. Like we always teamed up.
No, that's how we broke in. We had to.
Doreen teamed up with Kat. We did that for years. I teamed up with Dana. I teamed up with Taisha, with Clara. Clara did. So like we never went at it alone, actually. And that, if I could, you know, really share some really cool wisdom, you're going to have like weekly or bi-weekly sessions. It might be best to go with someone else.
Yeah. The other thing is I have found that being a leader doesn't necessarily have to do with your position in the group. It would be hard, you know, I know for some of you, it would be impossible for you to be in a group without becoming a leader, right? Because how do you become a leader in this stuff is that you just help somebody understand something. Right? And then you will become a leader. That's whether you're, quote, the facilitator or you're saying something to the person sitting next to you in the group.
Also, we are starting the Organizer Facilitator classes before the course opens. So if you come to the first week, you'll get a better idea about how the group would go, and you can get some more connections with it to see if it's really, if you're ready for it.
Yeah.
And people can sign up several weeks after the course starts, like within the first 2 weeks. So there may still be more people coming who are looking for groups. It's not like you'll miss all the opportunities for people who would be interested.
Yeah. And just one of our standards that we use is what we call the white knuckle. Like if you're going to have white knuckles, don't do the training, right? Like if it's going to be that stressful that you're going to have white knuckles, like don't do it. It's not a conducive environment for learning when we're stressed out. So a lot of what we've looked at is how does that feel in your body when you think about this? And it's like, wow, that feels pretty scary. Okay, well, maybe that's not a great idea then. How does it feel in your body when you think about doing it with somebody else? Well, I felt pretty good. And that's actually, it's pretty funny if you listen to our staff meetings. You'd think we were a focus group or focusing group, but we get a lot of the answers from the body, right?
Cool. Thank you. All right, we went a little bit over. I think we're kind of wrapped up here. The last thing, you know, we might even make a resource if you're looking for someone to team up with. Possibly, I'll look into that. to see if there's other people who might want to also lead more groups with other people. Possibly, that's a great idea. And as well, we're gonna continue every year, making this track as better as the best that we can. So we're gonna keep on upgrading, learning from the previous year. So I think unless there's anything else you want to add, Tom or Doreen.
I just thank you, everybody here. Thank you for taking your time and the energy and to be part of this. It's like, yeah, throwing a party and you came.
I have one bit to add, that just like in life, facilitating a group really requires empathy. And so you may want to have an empathy buddy who's
self-empathy, as well.
Self-empathy, but also having an empathy buddy really can help you. And maybe you need to have it right before or right after your group. And maybe it would be helpful to have an empathy buddy that's someone who's in the program, because they will have maybe they can give you a little advice when you're seeking that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Doc. All right.
Wrap, I think then.
I think we're wrapped.
All right.
We did go a bit over. Sorry, that was too much fun.
Thank you, everyone.
Cool.
So if you have any questions, send them in, coursecoordinator@nycnvc.org. If you want to register, just go to compassioncourse.org. The registration link in the Compassion Course website is for everything, for the certificate of completion track, for the organizer facilitator track, and as a regular participant as well. It works for everything. It's kind of like a mega registration form, if you will, super form.
Yes,
So,
you should definitely get a cup of tea before you start filling it out.
But it's still pretty easy, straightforward, I think. So we've kept it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So
it's usable.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I think we're a wrap. And hopefully we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Right.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here.
Thank you.
Learned a lot.
Thank you.
Right.